Thanks. Democrats calling for open borders and abolishing ICE.
I think we should get rid of ICE.
We've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
ICE was established in 2003, right at the same time as the Patriot Act. And we look back at a lot of that time and legislation as a mistake.
Regular people cannot go back and forth across the border seeking out the highest wages. So what it creates is an imbalance. It creates an injustice.
But as thousands of people in this migrant caravan march toward the U.S., the left appears to have fallen pretty silent on this issue. So is that caravan impacting their midterm message? Here now to debate that, Democratic political analyst Jason Nichols and attorney Jenna Ellis. Jenna, we're going to start with you. Talking about abolishing ICE and open borders is great during a primary, but in a real election, it can get you into trouble with a lot of moderate Americans, right?
Yeah, I think the Democrats' messaging is consistently failing because their party platform is not consistent with reality. I mean, they may want to run on rainbows and puppies and free health care and open borders and love is love, but the reality is there are two genders, and we have sovereign borders for the same reason that we have walls in our homes and locks on our doors. And so the fundamental right to privacy and to private property is protected for every individual, and a legitimate government will protect that for the family. So when President Trump is saying that he's a nationalist and America first, I think that resonates with the average American because we all understand common sense. We all understand that protecting our families really reflects reality.
Jason, I want to play a quick little soundbite here from junior senator from Illinois, Barack Obama, back in 2005.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
We got quotes like that from Chuck Schumer as well. What has happened to the Democratic Party on this issue?
Well, again, I think that we're confusing a lot of different things. Talking about the abolition of ICE, again, what people really mean is a re-examination, restructuring of ICE to focus on the things that need to be focused on, like catching cyber criminals, child pornographers, and human traffickers. That's what we really want to catch. We don't want to bother the elotero man or the guy who's selling fruit on the side of the road. And so I think what people want is more focus on that. And I don't think anyone's calling for open borders. I think that's, hyperbole.
I think a lot of Democrats are calling for open borders right now.
That's not the majority. That's not the majority of the party. The majority of the party wants sensible immigration and sensible immigration reform. This is something that Republicans
but Jason, none of your party is talking about that. All of the spokespeople for your party are talking about open borders, and they're talking about the humanitarian aspect of letting people in. I mean, and so this is something where you have the imminent threat is the migrant caravan, and it's President Trump that's saying, no, we are going to at all costs make sure America first and protect their border.
This is what Republicans are saying. They're saying that we're being invaded. You see toddlers and women. I've never been invaded by a 3-year-old, so I don't know exactly what that's
but it's still a group of thousands of people demanding to come into a country. I mean, that's just not right if you're a sovereign nation.
We have 65,000 members of Border Patrol who we actually trust to actually do their job and be able to vet these people. And also we know that 90% of the people who have come in other caravans to our country have actually shown that they have credible fear, and that's the first step in gaining asylum.
I haven't heard that number, but let me get guys real quick. I got to cut in here. I'm going to give you guys some numbers from a Gallup poll that I found. 37 million people in Latin America want to come to the United States. 1 out of every 3 people in Honduras want to come to the United States. And they hear rhetoric from many people on the left, Jenna, that says that borders are bad, that we should build bridges instead of walls, that nobody is illegal. That message, I mean, can you imagine if in a grand exodus from Central America, what that would look like as the conditions there continue to deteriorate?
Yeah, and I think that you're right that a sovereign nation has an obligation to its own citizens first to protect its borders. And so when people abroad hear that and they hear that rhetoric, then they're relying on the Democratic Party to ultimately protect them and override the sovereign will of the nation and the fact that the United States has an obligation to protect its citizens first. And so we have to make sure that we pass, I would agree with Jason, we have to pass common sense immigration reform, but that's not at the sake of just opening our borders and allowing anyone who simply wants to be here to ultimately be here. No one has a right to be here. They have to apply for legal status. They have to go through whatever our law is that is in place. And so if we are looking at how we are protecting our borders first, we can't just invite an open invitation and an open border. I mean, this is a migrant caravan of over 5,000 people, 5,000 to 6,000 people. MS-13 is definitely there. There are criminals there. And so just to cross the border, whether you're 3 years old or you're 300 years old,
those people?
it is illegal.
All right, guys, well, we are unfortunately out of time. I love this topic. Jason and Jenna, thank you both very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.